I'm Lauren.
And welcome to Lesson 11 of our Huntsville.
Today's lesson will talk about the time after the Civil War.
The war left a lot of homes and communities damaged or destroyed.
This time after the war was called Reconstruction.
Today's vocabulary words that you need to look for are carpetbaggers,
Emancipation Proclamation,
Freedmen's Bureau,
Reconstruction,
investors,
lawmakers,
prosperity,
and scalawag.
And now, here's your host, Tim Hall, with your lesson.
Thanks, kids. During the war, President Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation. This important document declared all slaves in the southern states to be free. In 1865, Congress passed the 13th Amendment to officially end slavery. When peace finally came to the states, Huntsville residents worked hard to recover from the loss of war. Things in the New South were different. Not only did families have to rebuild their homes and buildings, they had to rebuild their attitudes and lives. The time immediately following the war was called Reconstruction. Cotton was still one of the area's most important crops and industries, but many fields had been neglected during the Civil War. In addition to reworking the farmland, farmers also had to find new animals to replace those that the Union troops had confiscated. Farmers did not have the money to rebuild their farms. As the region tried to rebuild, many investors from the northern states traveled to the south and tried to buy land from some of the poor families. These investors often cheated the Southerners by buying their land for less than it was worth. They earned the name carpetbaggers because they carried expensive luggage made out of carpet. Southerners who joined the carpetbaggers' efforts to buy the land cheaply were called scalawags. Besides dealing with livestock and land problems, cotton growers had to now hire help to work the fields that slaves had once worked. Freedom was a mixed blessing for many families as well. Since they were no longer considered someone else's property, these poor families had to make a living and support themselves. Often, slaves would return to their former plantation homes and work for small amounts of money. Sometimes plantation owners would take advantage of the situation and pay the workers barely enough to survive and support their families. The lawmakers of the United States government stepped in to help the newly freed slaves. The Freedmen's Bureau was organized to assist black families in exercising their rights as American citizens. The Freedmen's Bureau helped establish the first schools and banks for black families and assisted in feeding and housing the freed slaves. The Freedmen's Bureau also worked to educate and feed the slaves. The federal government wanted to help the former slaves become independent. The Freedmen's Bureau worked to protect the civil rights of the freed slaves. Black men were encouraged to choose their own leaders. The Freedmen's Bureau didn't turn people away. Many white Huntsville families were also fed and assisted by the Freedmen's Bureau. The new prosperity meant there was more time to have fun. Montesano was soon bustling with entertainment seekers. And the final decade of the 1800s was dubbed the Gay 90s in honor of the festive spirit. Montesano Mountain was soon bustling with entertainment seekers. People took the train up the mountain to enjoy the cool wooded cliffs and scenic overlooks. They could also take a tally-ho ride up the hill to the Montesano Hotel. The tally-ho was an open-air buggy pulled by 5 horses. The mountain has also been used as a healing place. The name Montesano means Mountain of Health.
I'm Miss Adelaide Sims. I want to tell you about a fabulous party I attended in 1892 at Mr. Samuel Moore's beautiful mansion. This party was held in honor of a cow. He happened to own the World's Fair's famous award-winning milking cow. What a party! The guests danced on an outdoor dancing floor that was lighted with the first electric lights in our city.
One cattleman, Samuel H. Moore, was particularly proud of his cows and bulls. He treated his cows very well and even honored one with a spectacular ball. In 1892, Moore printed invitations to a party to celebrate the cow named Lily Flagg. This animal received a first prize ribbon and was declared the best butter-producing cow in the world at the World's Fair in Chicago. Moore printed a picture of the cow on the invitation and listed her record: in one day, 4 pounds, 10 3/4 ounces. In 1 month, 118 pounds, 15 ounces. In 1 year, 1,047 pounds and 3/4 an ounce. It was the biggest party ever hosted in the city of Huntsville. More than 500 people from across the county filled the Moore home and yard. As they approached the house, visitors realized Moore had painted the family home. Moore painted his home a bright butter yellow in honor of his cow's achievement. Lily Flagg, the cow, was also at the party, which lasted well into the night. She probably cost more than the party did. Her estimated worth was $10,000. This is the house where the party was held for Huntsville's most famous cow, Lily Flagg. Descendants of Samuel Moore still live in this house today. Now, here's the Our Huntsville Kids with a review.
And now, here's a look back at today's vocabulary. Carpetbaggers. Persons who bought land from Southern landowners after the Civil War, paying much less than what the land was worth.
Emancipation Proclamation. The document signed by President Abraham Lincoln declaring all slaves were free.
Freedmen's Bureau. An organization established to help freed slaves and Southerners after the Civil War.
Reconstruction. The time used to rebuild after the Civil War.
Investors. People who invest in property to make a profit.
Lawmakers. People chosen to make laws for a country, state, or city.
Prosperity. A state of happy, good times for people.
And scalawag, a Southerner who bought up land cheaply like the carpetbaggers.
And now, back to our host, Tim.
Join us next time for a look at the civil rights movement in our community. For Our Huntsville, I'm Tim Hall.